Hey everyone, we're Red Donkey Projections. I'm Eric and we have Lucas as always.
Hey everyone.
Today is November 19th, 2020, and today we are going to be checking how accurate our election prediction was for the presidential election. This has been a historic election and it is definitely going into the history books. And we want to see and cross check how accurate the final results were compared to our predictions.
And our predictions did end up becoming very, very accurate. We got every single state correct, except for one. We'll be discussing that in this video. We know it's been 16 days since the election. We've been kind of busy, plus we did want to wait a few more days for all the states to be called. Now that they've all been called, we can go over them one by one. And with that being said, let's get right into it. All right, let's start here by first addressing, or this is a quick disclaimer here. New York, we did put as safe. And the reason for that is because we know right now it is slightly below 15%. However, there is still around 15% of the vote outstanding. And those votes are the mail-in ballots, which are expected to go to Biden in like drastic numbers. So we are going to put this one as safe because it 99% chance that it will be going in as safe this election. So really no surprise here. We know Trump said he had a chance of winning this. He did not. It got called right as the polls closed at 8 p.m. In New York. All right, with that out of the way, let's start first by addressing the safer states, and we'll go to the swing states later. Let's first address the states that we put as likely in our prediction. This was our prediction. We apologize for the quality. It is kind of bad, but this was our prediction. The 5 states / 1 district that we put as likely that ended up going safe were Montana, Kansas, Missouri, Mississippi, and Nebraska's 1st district. These states actually were kind of on the cusp there between safe and likely. For example, Missouri was like nearly exactly 15%, if I recall correctly. Same with Kansas. So we did kind of come close with that. Sadly, it did fall outside of our range, so we did get those states incorrect. And let's quickly say this right now. Yes, the polls were wrong. The margins were drastically off. We'll discuss that in a future video, and also a little bit in this video as well. All right. Those were the safe states that we did get incorrectly. Now, the rest of the swing states that were red, we got those. Sorry, the rest of the non-swing states that were red, we did get them all correct. And we also got correct, I think, all of the safe states that went blue except for New Mexico. Now, I was pretty shocked by the results here that Colorado ended up going to Biden more than New Mexico did. That was very, very shocking to see. I remember Colorado being called very, very quickly after the polls closed. Very shocking. But we did get that one wrong. We expected to go around 15%. It didn't. It went around 10%. So yes, we did get New Mexico incorrect as well. Although we were saying around like 15 points. So that's what we had for New Mexico. All right. Now with all the safe states out of the way, let's discuss the likely red states that we had first. Likely red states we had were Alaska, which we did get correctly. We got South Carolina correctly. And we also, I think that's it actually. We got those 2 correctly. Now, Eric, you can go ahead and talk a little about Texas, Iowa, and Ohio for sure.
Yeah. So, as you can see, the final presidential results have Texas, Iowa, and Ohio as likely states. For the most part, all of us thought that specifically Texas was trending to the left a bit more than it actually did. The thing is that Texas did go. Every election year, Texas's margin is getting smaller. 2016, it was 9 points. This year, Texas went in 6 points. So it did technically go in a smaller margin. It's just that we overestimated how much it would trend in the other direction. Now about Iowa and Ohio. Here, I feel like is, I think the main overarching loser here are the polls, and we will delve into that in a completely different video. But I have to say that the polls were really out of the margin of error, and it really painted a different picture for the in some states rather than what the actual result was. Ohio and Iowa, they were essentially a blowout for Donald Trump. He was really able to hold on to those states. He was doing a lot of campaigning there. He was trying to really hold those states down. Ohio was looking promising for Joe Biden, but then when the rest of the tally came in, Donald Trump was really able to take them. We thought they were going to go in tilt, maybe lean margins, but Donald Trump was able to really keep them.
I absolutely agree with you on that point, definitely. And I think what we underestimated in Texas was the Southern turnout for Donald Trump. For example, I was looking at the New York Times map, which I sadly don't have pulled up here, showing how it changed from 2016. Starr County, which is a county in southern Texas, swung 55 points to the right. That's insane.
That is
55. We
wow.
completely did underestimate the Latino support for Donald Trump in Texas and honestly across the country as well, which we'll get it into when we talk about Florida. So yes, Ohio and Iowa were quite surprising, and as Eric noted, with Ohio, I remember watching an election night. I'm like, wait a second, is Biden really going to win Ohio? And I felt the same way about Virginia too, because at first it was looking like Trump was doing extremely well in Virginia, but then all the votes came in, and they ended up both being likelies. So that was very, very interesting to see. So those were three states that we did get the margins in correctly, but we did predict the winner for, which honestly most people did predict that these states would go to Donald Trump in the first place. All right, let's now talk about the. Where do you want to head? Let's go to the likely Democratic states. I'll quickly brush through them because we did quickly say them before. New Hampshire swung to the left, like for sure. It
Mm.
swung a substantial amount to the left. Eric, what was the margin for New Hampshire this election?
New Hampshire's margin was about like 6 points. Actually, no, it was like 7 points. So yeah, it was likely.
Wow.
But the thing is, Joe Biden, of course, as you see on the map, did better than Hillary Clinton because her election performance it was pretty abysmal. Like we have
It
been
was.
saying that Nevada, for example, was close, and Maine that was also abysmal, and New Hampshire. But what the difference between then and now is that Joe Biden not only gained key swing states, but he significantly retained the vote in other states that Hillary Clinton didn't do that well in.
I agree with you because if I recall correctly, New Hampshire went to Hillary Clinton by about half a percentage point, and it swung to 8 7 8 points now, which is pretty insane. And I gotta say the same thing about Minnesota. Minnesota has also swung significantly from that 1.5, I believe, to now around 7 points. And I remember Minnesota getting called quite early, which was actually kind of earlier than I expected. I expected it to be like a 6 point or like a 5 point margin there. Um, but it did get called on election night, and I want to say it around 10 because I do remember calling Eric and telling him that
Yeah.
they did call Minnesota, which I thought was quite interesting. We did get Minnesota and New Hampshire correctly. Now let's address Nevada. Nevada, we did get incorrectly. It was a lot closer than what we expected, and usually the polls in Nevada do tend to swing to the right, and they actually might have swung to the left this election. Biden only won by I think around 2 points. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was very contested. And also the thing is, for whatever reason, this went viral that like the Nevada count took quite a while. I just, fun fact for trivia.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that. I think again, Latinos and Latinas in Nevada might have showed more support for Trump this time. And Nevada, if you all know, it's Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is, and then you also have the city of Reno, which is up, I believe, up north. And those two counties did turn out a pretty decent amount for Joe Biden to put him over the edge to win. All right, Nevada is done. I think we can now head into the swing states.
Yep.
Let's first talk about the one that we got wrong the most here, which actually is a tie between Iowa, Ohio, and Maine's 2nd District. Again, the polls were so wrong in Maine's 2nd District.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just realized I flipped the districts. Apologies for that. But they were very wrong in Maine's 2nd District. We were expecting it to go less than a percentage point. According to the polls, Biden was leading in every single Maine 2nd poll. And when we talk about Maine, we're going to discuss this in our Senate video, which our Senate map honestly was decently off. Was the polls definitely underestimated the Democrats here. We saw Sarah Gideon up in every single poll against Susan Collins up until Election Day. And now we saw Joe Biden up in every single Maine 2nd poll up until Election Day, and Trump wins in a likely margin. That's quite interesting to see, to say the least. It is a more rural area, but we did expect it to go in a lot less than it did go to Donald Trump. If I recall correctly, Eric, was it 7 points?
Maine's 2nd district went in 8 points.
8 points. Wow. That is quite interesting to see. But we did get Maine's 2nd District wrong. All right, now we're going to talk about the big one. And I think you all probably know which one it is. It was one that we were pretty much all shocked about. It is the state of Florida. Wow, it was completely shocking.
Yeah.
Especially looking at Miami-Dade County. And I was actually discussing this with Eric on election night, how Biden did pretty well in the rest of Florida. He flipped Pinellas. He flipped, I believe, a few other counties as well in Florida. But what he missed was Miami-Dade. Hillary Clinton won Miami-Dade by 30 points in 2016. In 2020, Biden won Miami-Dade County by 7.3%. And that was terrible because there's 3 counties in southern Florida that the Democrats usually use to their advantage in order to make up for the rest of Florida being relatively conservative. Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, Broward County. And I mean, what can I say? Things didn't go the way he wanted to in Miami-Dade County. Definitely not.
Yeah. And also, as we said we were going to discuss later, the Democrats, I think, will have to in the future resonate more and appeal more to the Latinos and the Latinas. They were a demographic that really did not turn the way the Democrats thought, and kind of like Hillary Clinton, they just assumed that for the most part they would support Joe Biden, especially in Florida, where there are a lot of Cuban immigrants who fled from socialist Cuba, and the Republicans portray Joe Biden as a socialist. These people, they don't really resonate with the Democrats, and especially in a place like Florida, that is exactly what tipped it over. Florida went in a lean. It went in 3 points, which is pretty substantial in such a contested state. And the moment I saw that, and especially the fact that Miami-Dade and that turnout was also not high for the Democrats, Florida was kind of like not a shock, but it really was overestimated to the Republican side. But what wasn't expected was another state that completely flipped since 1992, never happened before. And that state is Georgia. Wow. The thing about Georgia is that I remember when I told you people about the 134% increase, I was kind of shocked, but I was still not I was more expecting to flip to Biden than before, but I was not at all giving it to Biden. The African American turnout, the 134% increase in general turnout, is what drove this over the edge. And also, a lot of people are really giving props to Stacey Abrams, the Democratic candidate for governor, for really trying to turn out and register, I think, 800,000 people to vote. And that is one of the pretty significant factors people think that really led to Biden victory in Georgia.
Yeah. And yeah, Stacey Abrams ran for governor in 2018. She did lose by also a pretty close margin. And she really did bring out that African American support that I think Biden did really need. And it was especially around the Atlanta suburbs area that turnout was really brought out, and Biden was able to carry this state. So we
Yeah.
did get that state wrong. That is the only state here that we got incorrectly from our prediction. Florida, we also did get the margin incorrectly. We expected less than 1 point. It ended up going in 3. That was
Yeah.
interesting, very
And,
interesting.
yeah. And as of today, the recount that Donald Trump requested, or the Georgia Secretary of State enacted, has been done, and the recount has went to Joe Biden. So therefore, the Trump administration cannot really do much more and contest the state and really put any lawsuits here, because not only did the first time it went to Biden, but with this recount, it also did go to Biden.
Right, and there could be another recount, but it really is not going to change that much. We're going to now head to the state of North Carolina, which we did expect to go to President Trump, and it did end up going that way. We missed it by a few decimal points. We predicted it would go less than 1%. It went 1.3%. So we did come close to North Carolina as well. I think we were expecting higher African American turnout, but I don't believe it was high enough to push Biden to the victory here. So, yeah, North Carolina was expected to go to Trump. We didn't get the margin right. And the polls were wrong here as well. This one was also predicted to go to Biden, as well as Florida, too. So 2 states where the polls were wrong. All right. Let's now head into the states that we did better in,
Sure.
margin-wise. Of course, we did well overall because we did get which way it would go, the states which way they would go, but we did get incorrectly the margins for the southern states here. But anyway, Pennsylvania, we got it correctly. It went to Biden in, I think right now it's at around 1.2%, I believe. And we did predict it to go 1 to 5 points. Pennsylvania, polls overestimated him, threw him up by 6 points, I believe, by election day, went by 1.2. But what helped Biden in Pennsylvania was that the suburbs. He was able to flip 2 counties, Erie County and I
Yeah.
believe Northampton County as well.
Erie County
And
Erie County was pretty crucial because Donald
yeah,
Trump got that in a pretty sound margin for what Erie County is, which is basically a swing county, and Biden was really able to take that back.
right. And even though Biden did worse in Philadelphia, where I believe it actually swung to the right by 4 points, he did very well of the suburbs near Philadelphia and in the suburbs in general in Pennsylvania. That is what pushed him to his victory. Michigan, no surprise here. It did go to Biden by a lean margin. We did predict a lean margin. I think it's around 3 points. It's like 2.8, something around there. Michigan was the state we were the most confident in the 3 states here. That would go to Biden, and we did see that happen. Polls were also off here. It showed him up by 8 points, 7 points.
Yeah,
Went in 3. So not the best, but the margin was correct. And now Wisconsin. Eric, why don't you talk about Wisconsin?
Yeah, so if I check correctly, Wisconsin went in, less than 1 point. It went in like 0.6, I think, with 99% of the vote. So yeah, basically all of it went in 0.6%. Yeah, that average was definitely outside of the margin of error. We cannot reinforce enough that the real loser of this election was the polls. It wasn't Donald Trump, it was the polls, because they once again really did not portray the truth. Wisconsin, it did go to Joe Biden. And, the Donald Trump administration is trying to fight lawsuits here, but I think in general, I think they've lost 19 out of 20 lawsuits. They won one in Pennsylvania. But Joe Biden, he won this state in a pretty contested margin, but 0.6% is, it's something, and yes, we put it as a lean, I believe, but it did go in a tilt.
Yeah, I gotta say, Wisconsin was definitely the most shocking of the 3 states here. A+ pollster I believe it was, I think it was ABC News. I'm not completely sure. They showed Biden up by 17 points in Wisconsin. I think they probably got the decimal points wrong there because it went in less than a point. But they got Wisconsin wrong. Definitely did not go in 17 points. And that does kind of make me wonder now for the future with polls in Wisconsin, how much error do we have to account for, knowing that in 2016 it swung by around 7 points as well. This year it also swung by, I believe, also around 7 points. So we've got a lot to think about with the polling data from now on. We're going to be trusting other factors than just the polling data in the future for sure. Let's quickly head to Nebraska's second district, which was one district that we actually underestimated for Joe Biden. It went in 7 points. Is it 7 points?
I believe it went in, let me check right now. Yeah, it went in 8 points. No,
8
7
points. 7. Okay, 7 points. Yeah, that was pretty surprising, I got to say. Nebraska's second was also called pretty early. I remember that was being the first flip on election night, with Nebraska's second being called. It's honestly a pretty substantial margin, considering even Barack Obama lost it in 2012 to Mitt Romney, and 2016 Hillary Clinton came close, but she did not. She was not able to win the district. And I think what helped Joe Biden here was, turnout from Omaha and from the less rural areas of Nebraska, which is why that district is so tiny. One electoral vote at the end of the day might count, and that definitely did count towards the complete flip in electoral vote numbers. Now it's 306 to 232, but in the other direction. All right, and I think it's time for our final state here, Arizona. We did expect this one to be close, and we did get it correctly. We did say it was going to go in a tilt. And the polls swung about, I want to say, 3 points-ish, 2 points-ish?
2 points.
2 points, yeah, okay. So Arizona, what provided Biden the victory was the flip of Maricopa County. When that flipped blue, we basically knew that Biden was going to win this state. I remember watching election night, or actually election week, I want to call it, how every day it got closer and closer and closer, but Trump was not able to surpass Joe Biden's number here. So Arizona did go tilt blue. At one point, we did think it was going to go in a larger margin, but that was like over the summer, which was Biden's high point. But it did go in a tilt. First time since, I want to say 1996, but I don't remember. It was either 1996 or 1992 that it did go blue. And to remind you, in that election, Ross Perot, who was the third party candidate, kind of ate a lot of the votes. And I remember watching, I forgot which TV network it is, but they essentially said that Ross Perot was the assist for Bill Clinton's victory in the state. So we don't really have that many significant third parties in Arizona, and Biden was able to carry out the win. So that is kind of showing how there might be some changing demographics, and Arizona is definitely swinging to the left a lot from how conservative it was before. And that is our map. We came pretty darn close, I want to say. Of course, ignoring margins. Even including margins, we actually weren't that far off. The only states that I would say we were really far off on were Ohio, Iowa, and Maine 2nd District. Other than that, I think we did a pretty good job. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, and in the next video, or the next few videos, we will be talking about some factors and, demographics factors such as polling. I'm just going to spoil it, that may have swung it, and talk about if this is developing into some sort of pattern that, polling is off. And yeah, we will have to put some more thought into that in another video.
Absolutely. And on that note, let's talk about a little bit what we're going to do after this. The 2020 election sure is over, but there's a lot to dissect from it. A lot.
Absolutely.
Dissecting some of the swing states, talking about what pushed either Biden or Trump to the victory, demographics, everything in there. And in addition, we'll be comparing our Senate map, which I'll be quite honest, we were pretty off. We got the general idea, but we did get some states off. We'll be talking about what went wrong with the polls this election. We'll be preparing for the 2021 governor elections. Our governor is up for election in 2021, and our early 2022 midterm predictions. So stay tuned. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like our content, please hit subscribe. We'll see you in our next episode. Whenever we make the next video.
See ya.